This conference will now be recorded.
Hotepu, everyone! Welcome to a monumental moment for our temple, the temple of Nut Heteru, the goddess of the sky and of joy, and us introducing a project which took me directly 14 years to produce. On the screen here, it's called the Peret Spedet, the Kamitic singing calendar of Sirius. This is a work that was given to me by the gods about 14, 15 years ago to fix the broken Kemetic sky, fix the skies. And what the heavens told me to do was to repair the CAM calendar in order to help people to find their connection back to nature. So on this screen here is the title page of our calendar, and it reads Peret Spedet, the Kemetic singing calendar of Sirius, year, which you can see here, 12933 ZT, meaning Zep Tepi, which I explain in the calendar in one of the appendices. This calendar is mathematically accurate. I used very strict astronomy software, astronomy equations, historical records from Kamit, alignments with temples to cross-reference dates and times with pyramid alignments. I spent many years ensuring the mathematical purity, what we call the ma'at, the mathematical purity of the calendar. And this calendar is meant to make the Kamau people around the world have a unified scheduling science. Calendars, what we call unut, are actually the clocking of celestial and terrestrial events in order to invoke the psychological and psychic energies needed from those events for the well-being of the nation and the planet. So on the screen you see an image of Dendera, actually called Anut, and this is the Kemetic astrology zodiac wheel, which you've seen on my channel, perhaps other videos discussing this wheel. The next image shows the legend or the key to reading the calendar. So we have here the Unut Kamit, the calendar of the Blacks of Kamit, and I call it a singing calendar because to us, the stars, the planets, the celestial vault sings. And in typical African fashion, it is a call and response. So when a certain star or heavenly body makes a certain trajectory, we sing to it. This is not about just having information about a time for ritual or time of an event, like the Helical rising of Sirius, which this calendar is based upon. That's the New Year day. But it's about us having a call and response choral relationship, vocal, sonic, word of power relationship with the sky and earth. What some might call archaeoastronomy, where you use things on earth to align you with things in heaven for ritual and divine purposes. Each year, I do a reading with the high oracles, and we get a yearly song. This one is Irosun Meiji, Irosun Meiji, Irosun Meiji for the year 2025, 2026, from July 18th, which is our new year, called the Ap Renpit Spedet. And this year, at the Helical Rising of Sirius, the Peret Spedet, this is the storyline for the year. As defeats Set at the courthouse of the gods. So each year it gets a reading, and we post it here. And then further down here, we have how to read the calendar. So it goes through every feature of each calendar page. We here see a calendar page. We see a deity in watermark here, and a deity over here in watermark. And here in the red dress is the deity of the month. Here we have this watermark here, the image of the deity of the season. There are 3 seasons in Kamit. And when you order the calendar, you can go through all of the details of how to read it. It's all here in simple layout. It has blue days, blue tone days, and those days are shown here what to do on them. On all 4th days, you study Geometry Day, because 4 is a square, and the square is for the study of geometry on Earth. We have here certain symbols like golden phi ratio frequency activates. And you go to appendix 15, it explains, which I'll show you, what that means. We get a hymn for the month from a temple or a text that I would research. There are always 30 days in a month. A week is 10 days long, called a Sabayu Shepsu or a Deacon. That's all explained in the text. You have here the names of the weeks. Spedet 1, Kenemu 2, second week. And on this side are the deities of the week. And I wish to mention about the gods here, the Deacon gods were Ifa Oracle derived. There are texts in Dendera that show the gods of the Deacons, and they're very deep. Their powers are very deep. So I asked the Oracle to give the world a layer of spirits in the Deacons, of psychological forces in the Deacons that people can really relate to first. And so I have this list found only in our temple of the gods of the week. We do respect and use the gods written in Dendera and in other temples of Kemet, but the ancestors wanted to use a certain level of gods there that are very accessible to most people who focus on these energies in the sky. So this is all laid out and easy to hopefully follow. And for example, here we have mummifying Osar's 8 second meridians. Osar is your divine self. He's Orion constellation. And we have a link here for getting a document that shows you how to do that ritual of mummifying your aura or purifying your aura. We have lunar symbols, etc., etc. So we move forward. This is some of the art here. So you see here, this is one of our months, the god of one of our months. This is Heru. And each month is in this kind of format where we have an image from the ancient land of the Nile, and we have a deity carved in stone with certain celestial effects. So the art is very much like this. And then we have here, this is the little month, because we have 12 months in our calendar, starting from the Helical rising of Sirius, which happens either in our times on July 17th or July 18th. It depends upon a few factors. And what I wish to mention, actually, let me go back to this. So we see here, this is the first month called Teki Tehuti. It's a 5-month, and it's the first month. And the month gives an energy and gives a mission. The month of balancing your chakras inside of Spedet Sirius star. This is the month in hieroglyphs. This Akhet is the season, and this is the Western date range, July 18th, 2025 to August 16th, 2025. Now, we base the new year on the Helical rising of Spedet, what's called Sirius. But the Helical rising of a star is very, very sensitive to what latitude your city is on, from which you're viewing that event. So it could be days and weeks different for different cities. So the ancestors revealed to me a secret power spot in the land of blacks, so-called Africa, that is the spot that controls the fate of the entire planet. So I found that location, and I used that mystical location as the origin date for when the world receives the energy globally of the Helical rising of Spedet Sirius. But then you have another date, which is when it rises over your city. That's called your local New Year. So this calendar locks into the global New Year, and we can let you know if you contact us how to find out when your city's local Helical Rising of Sirius happens, if you're able to see it from your location. Okay, so we need to be very, very clear. This is what's called the Universal Helical Rising of Sirius, based upon a mystical location on the continent of blacks, so-called Africa, and that area, it's a small area actually, controls the fate of the whole planet. What happens in that area reverberates, ripples to the whole globe. Okay, so we go back to this, our little month. So there are 12 months of 30 days each. Each 30-day month has 3 weeks made of 10 days per week. That makes 12 times 30 is 360, but we all know there's 365.25 days in a year. So there's an extra month called the little month of greatness, or the 5 days above the year. And this is the page that talks about that phenomenon, those 5 days, the birth of the gods Osar, Heru, Set, Ast, and Nebuchadnezzar. And we have prayers to Nut, the goddess of the month. We call this Deacon 0 Apwat, whose god is Heka. We have a prayer for each of the gods born on that day. We have here questions you ask yourself, because these 5 days are about you being heartfelt and honest with the gods about concerns you have with them, uh, doubt you may have with the divine world, pain or trauma around divine development. We have 5 days to kind of let all that go and release it through integrity and honesty. And then we have something called this removing the 7 arrows of Sekhmet at the end of the year from a Pharaonic text here, because at the end of the year, it's considered to be very dangerous in terms of very Sekhmet, the goddess of destruction, the destructive heat of the sun, the radioactive rays of the sun, of Aten, the sun. And at the end of the year, if you don't purify yourself, her 7 arrows can reach you. And the 7 arrows can mean many things. I put them in highlights here in bold, what they mean generally speaking. So you want to be careful at the end of the Kamitic year by reading this page very carefully. And note each month has a song. Onk e jogbe, onk e jogbe, onk e jogbe. Each month has a call to action, a ritual, or a focus. Okay. And then we move on to the next set of pages, which are the appendices, which are quite extensive here. There are 15 appendices in this work. And on this one, for example, I explain about star phasing, Helical rising, the 4 types of star kingdoms or star gods you see here, called circumpolar, curtailed passage, a rising line hidden to return, and never rising. We discuss what that means technically and astronomically, very mathematical. Here we have 2 main star fields, the Sekhet, which is the north circumpolar region of the sky, and the Sekhet Anru, the field of reeds. This is the southern side of the sky, and what those mean in a chart or in analysis. Down here, I talk about these phrases in Egyptian language, Uben Ran Hichta, which means Uben to rise, Ra the sun, in Et Hichta dawn. So we give you Kemetic words to understand astronomy events, etc. And I have very extensive appendices that go more into depth with all of these. And they're often links to my YouTube channel or to my webpage for more information about whatever you're reading on that page. And then Appendix 5 links to the purpose of the Helical Rising of Sirius Spedit calendar. It is to develop your chakras. In the text of the Kamau, the people of the Nile Valley, it was said, here we have Ast here, Aspedit. This is the star spirit, the star Sirius, as the goddess Spedit Ast. And she's upholding the feather of Ma'at, and she has two leaning plumes here and a sun disk. Okay, and we'll discuss at some other point why these things are leaning. It has very important meaning about the star system of Spedit. But it is said in several texts that her boat contains 50 oarsmen who have 50 oars. And those 50 oars gave me the clue that that 50 corresponds to the 50 words of power of the chakras, which I have here. And this link shows you more about that. So she's about purifying the chakras. I explain that a bit more here and in this little paragraph here. And then I actually give you the 50 sounds. These sounds are the sounds of Spedit, Sirius, that you should chant. Just read this and chant it. I have another version, a more extensive version here at this link of music you can purchase. But here, you can just read these sounds on July 18th, 2025 to purify your chakras. These sounds are arranged in a mantric sequence where they will protect you, where the chakras, which are a kundalini energy we call Ra or Kuta, the cobras, on the rim of Ra's sun disk. She is a fire-spitting serpent goddess in you. So I had to arrange the sounds of her 50 words of power in a way where it tames her. It soothes the cobras goddess so she won't sting. For example, the first sound at the crown chakra is mm. The second of your third eye, the second series of your third eye chakra would be Ong Reng Ong Shri, Ong Reng Hung Shri, Ong Reng Shang Shri. And then we can go down to your root chakra, and they're all color coded. The seventh chakra is your root chakra. Its words of power are to Sirius, Ong Reng Lung Shri, Ong Reng Wang Shri, Ong Reng Shang Shri, Ong Reng Shang Shri, Ong Reng Sang Shri. And you'll find when you chant these sounds in the way written, they're very soothing and very empowering, and your chakras will open. You'll have dreams, good luck, right place, right time, fortune, healing, optimism. Wonderful things happen if you sing these sounds to the star Sirius Aspedit. Okay, so we move on to our next image, which is the 10-day weeks called the Deacons. But the ancient Kamitic word for deacon is Sabayu Shepsu. Sabayu Shepsu. Sabayu means something like star teachers, star educators, ancestral star educators, or how the stars educate you about the Kemetic ancestors. So we have here, it's a total list of 36. We only see 20 on the screen. These tell you the fixed stars that link to each deacon. And I checked this with astronomy software. So the first week, starting from July 18th to July 28th, you had 10 days. Every week is exactly 10 days long. Its Kemetic star name is Spedit, Sirius. Its deacon god is Temu, and the god's gift is positive reprogrammability, beginning on July 18th. The second deacon, or second week, is Regalis, called Kenamut. The deacon god is Hu, the Sphinx god, and his power is Ma Tehuti Music Meditation Intensives. So you see there's an asterisk here. At the bottom of the page, if there's one asterisk here, you'll see one asterisk below. If there's two asterisks here, you'll see two asterisks below with a link to the music recording for those meditations. So I've given all the deacon weeks their proper fixed stars, their proper Kemetic name, the modern deacon gods that I teach publicly, the gifts of each deacon god for each week. So these are things you should be doing every 10 days. For 10 days, you do this programmability. You try to program yourself to be a better person. And this week, you study fractals or your chart very heavily. And this week, you work on fiery magic, which is fiery psychic power, projective psychic ability. On this week, we encourage women to radiate joy for 10 days. Okay. On this week, Bess in Vega, Shaola, and Sargas, fixed stars, you should have good, wholesome fun that week. It's like a party week for you. So we have very useful applications of this calendar, which are mathematically and astronomically checked, double checked, triple checked, quintuple checked to make sure it's proper and well usable by modern people. Then in Appendix 15, you may recall I mentioned in the beginning, there are these phi, this is the symbol for phi, 1.618 ratio. And I discuss there are certain days, weeks, and months that have a phi symbol on them. And we go through what that means here. And down here, I give you what phi days are good for. This one's on the screen. Visible are tuning into the Shepsu, the ancestors and their ways, or bringing sacred harmony and beauty into your life and others' lives. And so it's to help you connect to sacred geometry in your life, make it real and living in your daily experiences. And the last part I wish to mention about the calendar is this. This calendar, which took me about 14 years to produce, of very intensive work, is the beginning. My next level of work will be to teach this same calendar to you from the Giza Plateau. The Giza Plateau, with the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx, are actually the same exact calendar that we have outlined here, but in a architectural form through stone. This plateau is nothing more than a clock, a giant clock of reading light, shadows, ratios, measures. It's astounding what it talks about. So, I wish to thank the Supreme Being Neter, and Amun Ra, and Osar, and Ma'at, the Lady of Math, and my sweet mother, Het Heru, and the Queen of the Skies, the Star Lady Nut, Our Lady of the Heavens. I wish to thank all these divine forces for guiding me, my mind, my hand, my heart, to revive the sky, to heal my mother Nut, the Queen of the Heavens, that the people on earth may connect back to her and to Geb, her husband, the earth on this ground we live, this beautiful blue jewel. And I pray that the Kamal people return to bring order and balance, beauty and harmony back to humanity. We will place the link to order the calendar below, and I look forward to hearing from you all. I look forward to hearing your experiences. In fact, I want to mention on this page, and I'll zoom in a little bit here, maybe a little hard to read, but each day has a prophecy, which I copied from the Cairo calendar. And each day has a prophecy. And I would love to hear from you, to email us. If you found, I want to open up the research to the world and to make a data bank of anecdotal experiences of people who have gotten the calendar. And for example, this one says the gods, let's do a good, the gods are peaceful in heaven, navigating the great bark. If you see anything, it will be good. I'm curious, did you go on a boat trip that day, or did you find out something about water or about a boat? It could be traveling in space. That's a kind of ship. I would love to hear your feedback about how these days are manifesting in your lives, showing up either literally or metaphorically. This could be meditating, peaceful in heaven, navigating the boat of meditation. And that way we form a database of people's experience to help enrich this calendar. Because in fractals, I discuss that more on my channel about fractals if you want to get more information. But fractals or patternology works best when you increase what's called feedback loops into the system. The more feedback you allow in, the richer the system becomes, the richer the patterns and the level of depth of experiences. Okay, so each day has this kind of prophecy, like a luck, bad luck kind of omen. And you see here three little, these called Nefer symbols. That means luck. And these three armed, shielded figures mean hex breaking day, meaning you want to be careful of bad luck and negative energies. If you have three of them, it's more intense. Two of them, middling. If you have one, it's slightly good or slightly challenging. So with that, again, thank you. We look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to you enjoying the calendar, spreading the calendar, playing with the calendar. We'll be talking about rituals and ceremonies and chants and getting statues and wands of the Kamau and staves, all kinds of wonderful things to bring this calendar of heaven to life here on earth. I wish to remind you all, in my world, it is all love. So I pray that our Mother Nut, the Queen of the universe, wraps you in her wings of love. Duawend Hotepu.